Well, ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump did have a rally, kind of at a weird time, around 4 o'clock. He took the stage in North Carolina, which is a big swing state. Of course, Trump winning it in 2020, winning it in 2016. People saying he's got a renewed vigor now. He looks really good. I was watching the rally. He, is impressive. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump on the campaign trail today, looking like his former self. His 26. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump was in North Carolina today. Very important state. Kind of a weird situation. He went on about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and he sounded really good, saying a bunch of just common sense things. And CNN comes out and says, no, it's all false. And then I'm going to fact check them because they're lying, not Trump. But Trump, people have said he looks good in this. I don't know why he was at such a small arena. It was overflowing. There's like 10,000 people there. Only 2,000 could get in. But Trump, I think, is going to start doing more outdoor rallies. This was a small thing, but Trump looked good here. So let's go ahead and we're going to listen to some of this, and then we're going to look at what CNN said. And just another side note, I do have to mention, we've got Walz and J.D. Vance agreeing to a debate. Obviously, that's a bit of a mismatch. Even Democrats are agreeing and saying, yeah, Walz is going to get crushed because he's not a debater. He's the American dad. He's just whatever. J.D. Vance is in another weight class than Walz. Walz is like a child. J.D. Vance is like, Arnold Schwarzenegger against it. That's going to be very bad for. But again, they say, yes, he's going to get crushed because he doesn't know how to debate. He wasn't picked for that. So notice how they're already trying to downplay it. But let's see what Trump had to say earlier today.
Low taxes, low regulations, low energy costs, low interest rates, low inflation, so that everyone can afford groceries, a car, and a home. Common sense.
And really, Trump, it was common sense throughout this entire thing, but notice the energy from Trump.
We will stop the invasion, end the migrant crime, support our great police, save Medicare, and save Social Security, which is under siege. We will strengthen our military, build a missile defense shield, keep critical race theory and transgender insanity the hell out of our schools, and keep men out of women's sports.
And that's a big one, too, because I don't know what liberals' opinion on that is. They've never actually said it. Trump needs to hit Kamala on that. They're very vague with what they say in terms of, the whole transgender thing with, if you're trans, can you compete with, male to female? Can you compete with the females? That's what Trump needs to run on right there, because that's another weakness. You've already got immigration. I really think Trump needs to hit him on amnesty because their policies make no sense. She says she wants to be stronger on the border, but she wants to give amnesty to all the illegals. Okay. Trump wants them all out of the country. He's going to deport 10, 15, 20 million of them, whatever they are. But Trump is showing this just renewed vigor. He looks so good, and he's really, really hitting it out of the park. And this is a good pause, too. But notice Trump says like 40 things and then they clap. But with Kamala, it's like she'll say a sentence and it's applause for a minute. And that's from all the people around telling the crowd to applause. They have to fill the airtime because she can't talk for very long. And if you think, oh, you're lying, well, then why won't she do a press conference? I mean, this is confirmed stuff. She will not do a press conference. Even Jim Acosta's like, listen, we're CNN, we're very liberal, but this is embarrassing. Can you at least do a press conference? And then the staffer's like, well, listen, we know it's embarrassing. We might do something in October. We're being rewarded by keeping her hidden right now with all the polls. But now it's come out a lot of the polls are just, you look at the actual underlying metrics, and even Democrat internal polls say it's a lot closer than some of these polls that have come out that have Harris up by 4 or 5.
We will defend the Second Amendment, restore free speech, and we will secure our elections. Everyone will prosper, every family will thrive, and every day will be filled with opportunity, hope, and joy.
So Trump, I do think he's taking a different angle with a speech like this, and a lot of people told him to do this, stop with the personal attacks, go to more of an uplifting thing, because that's the whole thing with Kamala. Oh, it's joy, it's hope. It's very vague things because she doesn't have a policy, so they have to say stuff like that, try and supplement no policy that she has. But now Trump is coming out doing this. This is smart. He needs to do this at rallies. When you get 20,000 people there, it's going to be huge. So that's good right there. And then we've got CNN coming out and I guess fact-checking this. And I guess I'll go through this and react to it.
He's with me to fact-check some of what we heard. There was definitely policy. There was also stuff about laughing. What stood out to you, Daniel?
Yeah, so you did some of the fact-checking yourself, and I appreciate that. Everything you said was right. There were a bunch of claims that I think a lot of people would question, but that are subjective or uncheckable. He claimed California, where a whole lot of people happily live, is unlivable.
Well, California, they've had the biggest drop-off in population and the biggest loss of electoral votes. So in general, it is unlivable.
He claimed that we're a banana republic in a third world country. I think a lot of people would dispute that. But also,
well, that's an exaggeration, but he's right. Even Andrew Cuomo admits the only reason Trump got charged in New York was because he's Donald Trump and he's a political prisoner.
So a whole bunch of claims, Phil, that were just flat out false. He again said that Kamala Harris was made the border czar, put by President Biden.
And of course, actually, you know what? Trump didn't say that. That was said by all the mainstream media. It's all over the headlines back in 2021, or, and they had to remove all the headlines. Guys, it's all over the place. She was the border czar, but even if you think she wasn't, under her and Biden's watch, what happened to the border? It got destroyed. So they're trying to defend the idea that she's not the border czar. Meanwhile, their network and other networks wrote that she was the border czar. I mean, Trump said she was the border czar. The network said she was the border czar. They all said it. Remember, Axios came out and said, we apologize. We were wrong 3 years ago when we said she was the border czar. But no, we said it, but now we're retracting it 3 years later because it's making her look bad.
In charge of the border. That didn't happen. In reality, she was given a much more limited immigration-related assignment tasked with dealing with the so-called root causes of migration.
How'd that work out?
Central American countries. He repeated his claim that she's allowed 20 million people into the country. Aside from the question of her own role and responsibility, the total number of border so-called encounters under Biden and Harris is 10 million.
No, it's been 10 million for months now. That's an old number. Trump's right, and that's why I've started to say 12, maybe 15 million is the estimate. We've been saying 10 million for a year, so it's more than that now. The numbers haven't updated, I'm sure.
Far from all those people were actually allowed in. That includes the people who were expelled from the country upon arriving at the border. He boasted of how good African-American poverty, the poverty level, was during his administration. He didn't mention it's actually fallen to a lower level, a new record, beating the Trump-era record.
But that's not a lie. He just said it was good during his administration.
Under Biden and Harris, he called switching candidates in the Democratic primary a minor form of cheating.
That's correct. You can't threaten the president of the United States like they did because they were losing and they had to switch or else they were going to lose. So they threatened the incumbent president. That is basically cheating. I mean, it is. You can't do. And Biden even says, like, I didn't want to leave. I mean, Biden tweeted out 10 times, I'm not leaving, I'm not leaving, I'm not leaving. And they forced him out by threatening him. Easy way or the hard way. So, and that's what I've said. I've said it's such a ridiculous thing. Biden's your guy. You can't just go and threaten him. That's embarrassing and disrespectful to the nation.
It's not a form of cheating at all. It's allowed completely within the law and the rules. And he spoke of how the Inflation Reduction Act, he said, gave us record inflation. The U.S. has never had record inflation under Biden and Harris. Even the Biden-Harris peak of 9.1% was about a 40-year high.
It was only a 40-year high. No. They're great with inflation. Don't worry, guys. It wasn't a record high. It was only a 40-year high is what he said. Not 40. And this next part about inflation, I'll tell you why it's wrong. I know what he's going to say.
We're near the all-time high of about 23.7%, and that 9.1% number has come way down since then. It's now 2.9%. So whatever.
And again, with how inflation works, it's a rolling average. So it's 2.9% compared to where it was last year at the same time. It's not 2.9% over the span of the administration. If you factor in everything, and when it was up around 9-10%, along with what it's been recently, it's a 25% increase. It's not 2.9%. It's people that don't know how to understand how this is done. That's just comparing how much higher it is from the previous year at this time. It's not comparing the entire administration. The entire administration, inflation is 20 to 25%. They use the 2.9 number and say, look at that, that's nothing. And by the way, the Inflation Reduction Act, even liberals say it really didn't do anything. Now, I don't think it completely, obviously, crippled inflation and made it significantly worse, but it also didn't help it.
Peak it reached before, nowhere near it now. And finally, he spoke of so-called very good polls for him coming out right now and claimed we're leading. He might be seeing private numbers we're not seeing, but in the national averages of public polling, he's not leading.
Well, he is right there. There's been a lot of positive polls for Kamala. I'll admit that. But Trump's got internal numbers, and we've also got the Rasmussen polls that have come out. So that is my response to that. And let's take a look at, what is this here? This poll has VP Harris up 4, but wait, the unweighted Democrat plus 21, weighted it's plus 5. And so, yeah, this is something we're constantly seeing. They're significantly oversampling Democrats, and it wouldn't surprise me if people within Kamala's campaign have possibly been paying for this, along with possibly paying for delayed releases of these polls. Because remember, we got the Political Cook Report poll today. It was 2 weeks ago. Why not release it today? Or no, excuse me, why not release it on August 3rd after you're done with the poll? They wait 2 weeks. That's a strategy. It wouldn't surprise me at all if it's Harris's campaign paying these pollsters to wait to release it, oversample Democrats by 7, 8. There's no way you should be oversampling Dems by 5 during this with this electorate based on how far right the country's gone. It's maybe Dem plus 1, Dem plus 2, I would say, but they're saying juice up the numbers. I mean, this is what they did. They manipulated the headlines, and they changed the headlines to make it look better for Harris. This is what they do. So it wouldn't surprise me if they did this. And like now Trump supporters and big time Trump people, they're looking at the underlying metrics and they're seeing all these polls are crap. They're all oversampling Dems. Every single one of them has Dem plus 5, Dem plus 7, Dem plus 6. And they say, well, it's based off of the last election, but we've shifted significantly since then. And you can just see that from voter registration in and of itself. We've got a new Fox News poll. That's a very good number. Wow, I expected Fox to push out a Harris plus 4 at least. This is unreal. Honeymoon is over. So yes, a lot of people who probably don't follow politics very much are going to say, well, of course Fox News is going to have a pro-Trump poll. Guys, that's not how it works. Fox News polling has been rating Democrats for multiple election cycles now. They favor Democrats almost on the same level as CNN in terms of how wrong they are in favor of Dems. So Fox News came out with a poll a month and a half ago that had Biden up by 4 over Trump. So it's not like Fox News, just because they're Fox News and they're right wing, their poll is not biased that way. These are really good numbers from Trump on a pollster that's been traditionally against Trump, believe it or not. So those Fox News numbers are very good. We've also got this 83,000 upvotes for Kamala saying we're not going back. And so Kamala, I mean, she's saying, yeah, I mean, the Biden administration is so bad, we can't go back to that. We got to move forward. Obviously, I'm trolling, but it is still funny. We've also got this. Kamala's allies urge her not to speak to media, according to a report. They say, quote, they are worried opening her mouth in public could slow her momentum. And this is an actual strategy, and because according to the polls, it's been rewarded. And so now they've got like a zip lip policy. You're not allowed to talk to anyone. If we keep doing this and we keep going up in the polls based on nothing, we're not going to try and fix something that isn't broken. So, I mean, it is understandable why they would tell her that, to just shut up and don't talk to anyone. You're going up. Don't screw with it. Don't mess with your momentum. But it is ridiculous that she's even got the momentum in the first place. All that's happened is they elevated her and then they went on a massive blitzkrieg of advertisements. There's another huge advertised swath coming. She's spending $90 million. Trump's got a huge war chest. I think he's starting to spend as well. They said Trump after Labor Day is really going to spend more money, but Trump's got to start having these rallies. I mean, I know the security and everything like that. You don't want to go outside. They said don't go outside, but at least go to these arenas, the bigger arenas. You got to get 15, 20,000. And it's going to help significantly, and you need to at least 3 or 4. And I think this is just, unfortunately, the DNC, and Trump said that. So I think he's only got one other rally this week, which is very light again. And it's just, that's what he said. He said, well, the DNC, and now he's got a press conference tomorrow. So he's trying to supplement by not doing the rallies because the DNC is coming up and he thinks it's just going to, stop his momentum anyways. So he's just going to do the press conferences. And Trump can sit there and talk for an hour, 2 hours, no problem, and take questions from people. It doesn't matter. Harris really can't do that because they're going to push her on some of her opinions and previous opinions. Harris has a massive problem in terms of flip-flopping on one thing, and it's not surprising considering you're going from California to just, a much more moderate approach trying to be the president. You're going to flip-flop pretty heavily there. I don't think really Kamala believes in much of anything, whether you want to call her, a socialist or very far left. I mean, if she has to be very far left, she'll be very far left. If she has to be tough on the borders, she'll that she's tough on the borders. She just does whatever, whatever way the wind blows to try and win elections. And I guess that's what pretty much everyone does. But with her, it's next level because she's coming from California and how liberal it is and how liberal you have to be a senator there. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.